Hello student, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today in this video, we will discuss remaining part of resistance and electric current. So make sure you have watched lecture 1 before moving ahead. So let's start. In previous video, we have discussed about electric current and electric resistance. So what is electric current? Electric current is just flow of charge. And electric resistance is which resists the flow of charge. It is hindrance to flow of charge. Clear? And we have also discussed about resistivity and conductivity in last video. Okay? And we have already discussed about Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? Ohm's law is V is directly proportional to I. Clear? What is V? V is potential and I is electric current. So according to Ohm's law, the resistance of a conductor is the obstruction posed by the conductor to the flow of electric current through it. Clear? So Ohm's law says that current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference across the end of the conductor, provided physical condition of the conductor such as temperature, mechanical strain remain constant. So V is directly proportional to I. This was Ohm's law that we have already discussed. So now today I'm going to discuss about ohmic and non-ohmic material. So as we know what is Ohm's law is V is directly proportional to I. So ohmic material are those material which obey Ohm's law. And V and I graph will be linear graph. It will be straight line graph as shown in figure. Clear? So the material that do not obey Ohm's law are called non-ohmic material, right? So V and I graph for non-ohmic material is not a straight line. It is a non-linear graph. So that the slope at each point on the graph is same. In other words, an ohmic conductor or device will have a single value of resistance, right? Now, non-ohmic conductor or device does not have a single value. Okay. So V and I graph for them is not a straight line as shown figure. I think this is clear to you. What is non-ohmic and ohmic conductor? Sorry, ohmic or non-ohmic material. So non-ohmic material are those material which does not follow Ohm law, and ohmic material is material which follow Ohm's law. So I think this is clear to you, correct? So these are some graphs which is shown in figure of the non-ohmic behavior of some devices. First graph is for junction diode, second graph is thyristor, third is neon gas, fourth graph is electrolyte, and last one is gallium arsenide graph. Clear? These are graph for non-ohmic behavior of some devices. So this was something about ohmic and non-ohmic conductors. Now, microscopic form of Ohm's law. We have already discussed about Ohm's law. V is directly proportional to I. So, V is directly proportional to I is macroscopic form of a Ohm's law. Now we are going to discuss about microscopic form of Ohm's law. What is microscopic form of Ohm's law? It is the form of Ohm's law. It is J is equal to sigma E, where J is current density and sigma is conductivity, that we have already discussed in previous. Okay. So sigma is electrical conductivity. What is electrical conductivity? It is reciprocal of resistivity. And what is resistivity? We have already discussed about resistivity in previous video, right? So resistivity is the resistance when 1 meter is length and 1 meter square is the area of the conductor. Clear? So now start microscopic form of Ohm's law. So this form of Ohm's law is operate on a microscopic level. Microscopic level means it deals with atomic and molecular level. Clear? So the conductivity sigma and electric field E. So it's the microscopic behavior of Ohm's law. We know that current is given by I equal to NE VD. I equal to NE VD. Okay? We already discussed about it. This is the relation between electric current and drift velocity, where A is area of cross section and is number of density of electron, E is charge on each electron, and VD is the drift velocity of the electron. So current density J at a point is given by current density is current per unit area. Clear? So what is current density? We can write it J equal to I upon A. Here is it in J equal to I upon A. Now drift velocity is given up. We have already derived this formula VD equal to T upon M, where capital E is electric field, M is mass of electron, and T is the relaxation time. Clear? So now put these two values in this equation. So we will get I equal to NA E square E T upon M. Clear? From this equation and this equation, put the value in this equation, and we will get I equal to NA E square E T upon M. So now I upon A equal to, from this equation, I upon A equal to will be NE square E T upon M. So we know that J equal to I upon A. So J equal to 1 upon rho E, right? So rho is resistivity of the material. So I think this is clear to you. How did we get Ohm's law in microscopic form? First of all, write the equation of relation between drift velocity and electric current. This is. Now we know the value of this drift velocity E T upon M. Put this value in this equation. So we will get these equations. Clear? Now from this equation, NA E square E T upon M, we will get I upon A. I upon A equal to NE square. From this equation, I upon A equal to NE square of ET upon M. So I upon A is J. J is current density. So J equal to 1 upon rho E, where rho is M upon NE square T in this equation. Clear? So M upon NE square T is resistivity. And we can write this equation J equal to sigma into E, where sigma is 1 upon rho. So this is the microscopic form of Ohm's law. So I hope this is clear to you. Now let's start new topic. The temperature, effect of temperature on resistivity. Clear? We have to find the resistivity of the material when change the temperature of different material. Okay. So now when we heat something, there is an effect on its resistance, on its conductivity. So either the current is increased or current will decrease. Then what is the effect of temperature? That means when we heat, so then when we heat the material, the resistance will decrease or resistance will increase. So this increase or decrease resistance, resistivity also decrease or increase. Okay. So with increase in temperature, we have different categories: metals, non-metals, semiconductors, or alloys. Clear? So let's discuss one by one on the of the effect on temperature of metal, conductor, non-metal, or semiconductor. So as we know the formula of resistivity, which is given by rho equals to m upon n e square t, where t is the relaxation time. Okay. So this formula shows that resistivity is related to the number of density of free electrons in material and relaxation time. So the variation of resistivity of material with temperature is different in different material as discussed below. So for metal in most of the metal, number density of free electrons does not change with temperature. Okay. But an increase in temperature increase the amplitude of vibrations. In metal, vibrations of the electron increase. Due to increase in vibration, collision of electrons increase. So while drifting towards the positive end of the conductor becomes more frequent. So due to increase in collision, the relaxation time decrease. So due to decrease in relaxation time, resistivity increase. Clear? Since resistivity is inversely proportional to relaxation time. So if resistivity, relaxation time decrease, resistivity increase. So on increasing temperature, relaxation time decrease in metal and resistivity increase. Okay. For conductor, the value of alpha is the coefficient of resistivity. Here, as we have discussed in first video. Clear? So alpha is positive, showing that their resistivity increase with increased temperature for conductor. For most metals, the resistivity increase linearly with increase in temperature over a temperature range about 500 Kelvin. Clear? So for semiconductor, the materials such as germanium, silicon, etc., whose resistivity at room temperature is in between that of metal and non-metal. Clear? So as the temperature of such material is raised, the relaxation time decrease like in metal, but at the same time the number of density of charge carriers increase by much larger factor. So as a result, the resistivity of semiconductor decrease with rise in temperature, while resistivity of metal increase while temperature increase. So I think this point is clear to you. Now insulator, the resistivity increases exponentially with decrease in temperature, as in case of semiconductor. Okay. So it becomes infinitely large at temperature near absolute zero. That is, conductivity is almost zero at 0 degree Kelvin. So I think this is clear to you. What is the effect of temperature on conductor, on insulator, and on semiconductor, right? And what will be the effect of temperature on alloy? So alloy, they are good conductor we have already tested. So we have found that when we increase the temperature of the alloy, there is no change. That means drift velocity remain constant for the alloy, right? So what is alloy? Alloy consists of two or more metal mixed in a definite ratio. For example, brass consists of copper and zinc. Nichrome is made of nickel from nickel, iron and chromium. So okay. So resistivity is constant for alloy. Now for electrolyte resistivity decrease with rise in temperature. Since temperature of electrolyte increase, their resistivity decrease. Okay. Now these are some graphs for conductor and semiconductor. For conductor, resistivity is increased due to increase in temperature. And in graph, semiconductor resistivity is decreased with decrease in temperature. First graph shows that resistivity versus temperature for a conductor. Notice that linear rise in resistivity. First graph shows linear rise resistivity with increasing temperature at all, but very low temperature. And B graph shows that resistivity versus temperature for a conductor at very low temperature. So notice that curve flattens and approaches a non-zero resistance at T tends to 0. And C is the graph for semiconductor, where if we increase the temperature, resistivity decrease. So this was all about resistivity versus temperatures. Now for alloy. So we have already discussed about alloy. In alloy, resistivity is very large but have weak temperature dependence. So alloy has residual resistivity even at absolute zero, while a pure metal has a negligible small resistivity at absolute zero. So this is the graph between resistivity and alloy. This is graph between conductivity and temperature. Okay, so what is conductivity? Conductivity is reciprocal or of resistivity. We have discussed about if we increase the temperature of a conductor, resistivity increase. But in case of conductivity, it decrease. It is shown in graph. Now, in case of semiconductor, if we increase temperature, resistivity is decreased, but conductivity is increased. It is shown in graph. And it is same for insulator. When temperature increase, conductor is also increase. Clear? So this is graph between conductivity and temperature for conductor, semiconductor and insulator. So I think these topics is clear to you. Now next is carbon resistor. What is carbon resistor? We have discussed till now resistors, and here now we are going to discuss about carbon resistor. What is carbon resistor? So the value of resistance and their percentage accuracy are indicated on carbon resistance available in market by color code printed on them. Okay. The color code for carbon resistance is given in following table. So commercially produced resistors used in electrical and electronic circuit are of two types. One is wire bound resistor and other is carbon resistors. Okay. So carbon resistor are mostly made of carbon and their resistance are in the higher range. Okay. So the value of these resistance and their percentage accuracy are indicated on the carbon resistor. So from figure, we see that This is carbon register. From this, the first two rings from the end give the first two significant digit of the resistance in ohm. Suppose first is A, other is B. So we can write A, B. And third one is multiplier. So we can write 10 raised to power C. C is multiplier. Okay. So first two rings from the end give the first two significant figures of resistance in ohm, and the third ring indicate the decimal multiplier. And last ring shows the tolerance in percent about the indicated value. So this is the table for the color code of carbon resistor. So here this is the formula to find the value of carbon resistance AB into 10 raised to power C plus minus D percent in ohm. Here AB is first two digits and C is multiplier and D shows the tolerance in percentage. Clear? So now in this table we see letter B black, B brown, R red, O orange, Y yellow, G green, B blue, V violet, G gray, W white, and second is number 0, 1 to 9. And third, tolerance. Tolerance for gold is 5%, tolerance for silver is 10%, and tolerance no color is 20%. Okay, so now this is carbon resistance. For the first ring is of green color. So from this table we found green color is G and number is 5. Clear? And second is of red color. So from these tables, red is 52, and third shows B. B means brown color. So brown is 1 into 10. No, third is blue. So blue is 6, 10 raised to power 6. And last one is fourth ring is of silver color. So we can write plus minus. Tolerance of silver is 10%. 10% O. Clear? So this is 52 into 10 raised to power 6 plus minus 10% ohm resistor. Now second carbon resistor. Find the value of the second carbon resistor. First ring is brown, second ring is violet, and third is black. So brown is 52 into 10 raised to power 0. 52 plus 12 minus 20% O. Here 20% is taken because there is no fourth ring. So tolerance for no color is given 20%. So we can learn this table by B. Roy of Great Britain has very good vibe. So I think this is clear to you, and this is very easy to find out the value of resistance by color coding. Okay, so now there are another type of color coding on a resistors which is given by this resistor. Here the color of the body give the first significant digit. Here red color, first significant digit is this, and the color of ends give the second significant digit. This is first, yellow is the first significant digit, and end of the color give the second significant digit, which is red, and the dot gives the decimal multiplier. Decimal multiplier is here is blue color. Clear? The color of ring give the tolerance. So here this is the ring gives the tolerance. So we can write the value of this resistance by this. The color of the body. Body is of yellow color. So what is the value of yellow color? From table, we know value of yellow color is 4. BB Roy. It is on number 4. BB Roy. Second digit is end of the color. So end of the color is red. So 4 color of red is 2. Clear? And dot gives the multiplier. So here the dot is of blue color. So multiplier is 10 raised to power 6. And ring gives the tolerance. So here color of this ring is gold. The tolerance for gold is 5%. Okay. So this was something about the find the resistance of carbon resistance by color coding. So there are 2 types of color coding. In first color coding, we have discussed about there is a 3 rings, 4 rings. First ring shows first 2 ring give the first two significant digit, and third gives the decimal multiplier, and fourth ring shows the tolerance. And other type of color coding, we saw that there is the color of body gives the first significant digit, and the color of the end give the second significant digit, and color of the dot give the decimal multiplier, and the color of the ring give the tolerance. So this was something about color coding of carbon resistance. I think this is clear to you. So now let's move to series and parallel combination of resistor, as we have done in first unit, combination of capacitors. So now in this we are combining 2 resistance which are in series combination and parallel combination. So first is series combination. How to add resistance in series combination. So as shown in figure, in series combination, the resistors are connected in series combination if the same current is flowing through each resistor when some potential difference is applied across the combination, as shown in this figure. Clear? End to end connected in series combination in first figure. So the combined resistance is given by R equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. When we connected in series combination, the current will flow is same in all resistors. So the combined resistance will be given by R equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. So we will discuss about this in next slide. Now what is parallel combination? In parallel combination, the number of resistors are said to be in parallel if potential difference across each resistor is same and is equal to applied potential difference. So in parallel combination, resistance, total resistance is given by 1 upon R equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3 up to Rn. So R is smaller than the smallest value when we connected resistors in series parallel combination. Now in series combination, in figure, resistors are connected in series. There are 3 resistors which are connected in series, R1, R2 and R3. Current I flows through the circuit. Clear? So V1 is the potential difference between R here, and V2 is potential difference between this point, and V3 is potential difference between this point. Clear? When these 3 resistors are connected in series, the current in all resistors is same. And total potential difference is given by V equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. Clear? We know that V1 equal to IR1 V2 equal to IR2, V3 equal to IR3. So put the value of V1, V2, V3 in this equation. So we will get V equal to I R1 plus R2 plus R3. Clear? If we consider a single resistor in place of these three resistors, so we will get V equal to IR. So we can write V equal to IR equal to I R1 plus R2 plus R3. Now I and I cancel. So R equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. This is the equivalent resistors when resistors are connected in series combination. So I think this is clear to you. In series combination, there is something to be noted. So in series combination, the current is same in every resistor. The current in the circuit is independent on the relative position of the various resistors in the series combination. Clear? Now, the voltage across any resistor is directly proportional to the resistance of that resistor. And next point is the total resistance in the circuit. Total resistance as we have derived Rs equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. So total resistance will be equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Right? Now the total resistance in the circuit is more than greater than one circuit. So I think this is clear to you. This was series combination in resistance. Now start parallel combination in resistance. So in parallel combination, when three resistors, these are given by R1, R2 and R3, are connected in parallel combination as shown in figure. Okay, three resistors are connected in parallel combination. In parallel combination, first end of the resistor connected to one point and other end of the resistance is connected to another point as shown in this figure. So when these three resistors R1, R2 and R3 are connected across AB, the voltage potential difference in all the resistors is same. So total current when in figure, the current is given to the circuit is I. So this current is divided in three resistor I1, I2 and I3. Clear? So this I1, I2, I3 will be equal to total current flows through the circuit, which is I1, I equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Right? So now the equivalent resistance is the sum of the resistance of each resistor, which is given by Rs equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Clear? When we connected the resistor in series parallel combination, the reciprocal of equivalent resistor of the number of resistance is equal to the sum of reciprocal of individual resistances. Clear? So it shows that value of equivalent resistance of parallel combination of resistance is always less than the resistance of individual combination of resistors, right? So therefore, the resistors are to be connected in parallel if the effective resistance is the circuit is to be decreased. So in parallel combination, it should be noted that potential difference across each resistor is inversely proportional to resistance of that resistance. Clear? Now second point is the current through each resistor is inversely proportional to the resistance of that resistor, and total current through the circuit is the sum of individual current through the various resistors. As I told you, I equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Clear? So the total resistance in parallel combination is less than the least resistance used in the circuit. So it was something about the combination of resistance which is in series combination and parallel combination. When resistance are connected in series, the current through each resistor is same. And when the resistance are in parallel, the potential difference across each resistance is same and not the current. Clear? So this is the difference, how to connect the resistance in series combination and parallel combination. In parallel combination, resistance is given by Rp 1 upon Rp equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. And while this resistor is connected in series, we found that total resistance of the circuit is given by R equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Okay. Now in series combination, current remains same, while in parallel combination, potential difference between resistors remains same. So I think this is clear to you. There is some problem related to the topic. So solve this problem so that you can understand the concept of the topic easily. Okay. So there are some problems. First problem, two wires of same metal have their length ratio of 4:1 and the radii in the ratio of 2:5. If the resistance of the thicker wire be 3 ohm, find the resistance of the other wire. So in this slide, there are 3 problems, and next slide you will get 3 problems. So total there are 6 problems is given to you to solve. Okay. So thank you. Ask your queries if you have.